Hi, everybody. Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room there on Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas, because he was a whistleblower. They forcibly removed him. This was planned, y'all, and they forcibly removed him so that they could take him downstairs to the basement room and take his life in the arms room of the same building, in the basement room, the arms room. You have to be a special person, like a platoon leader, to get to access that room, the arms room, and they took his life because it's a soundproof room also, and they then proceeded to um, desecrate his body. They took his body off of Fort Bliss. They stole it. They stole it off of Fort Bliss, and this is that's an act against the military because uh, you just don't steal a U.S. Army soldier's body off of Fort Bliss. And then, of course, it was trafficked because, and I say of course, because they're the Sinaloa cartel conglomerate, right? With the El Paso cartel conglomerate in alliance with the Sinaloa cartel, the CJNG, the Trinidad, the La Linea, and of course, the Juarez cartel. Um, I know the La Linea is part of the Juarez cartel, but they need to be mentioned. They need to be mentioned. Um, so they, have this funeral fraud, mortuary operations. They can transport dead bodies. They can transport and they can monetize it, um, and so they had a system in place, and they trafficked Richard's body over to Chihuahua, Mexico. It's right over the border. You can throw a stone from El Paso and hit it. It's just right across the border. You just walk right over there. And That's Chihuahua, of course, the city, the most dangerous city, Juarez. Juarez and Chihuahua, Ciudad Juarez, yeah. So, a lot of those officials and um, agent leaders that for Chihuahua, they have homes and everything in El Paso. They live in El Paso because they're embezzling everything in Chihuahua. They don't want to live there. There's too dangerous for them. It's too dirty and dangerous for them, so they'll come over to the United States and live, which is really criminal. So let's put this on, make sure everything is working all right. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. Um, I hope everyone had a great day. There was a lot of fireworks here. Big celebration today. So I'm coming on pretty late, 2 o'clock in the morning. It can't be helped. We've got to celebrate the 250th anniversary of our country, right? We have to because our system is so amazing. And, and you're going to be like, wait a minute, it's all corrupt. Yes, the people in it are so corrupt. Um, in the DA's office of Michael Maiella. But look at how great we're living. Um, in any other country, we wouldn't even have food to eat with this much corruption. But the system is, um, it's working for us against these very corrupt and evil individuals that are weaponizing our system. Even, they weaponized it against President Trump terribly. But guess what? He's president of the United States. That's what I'm saying. The system is working. And can you imagine if those that were head of the agencies and institutions would really want to unleash the power of our system, the golden age power of our system, and you would it just would be incredible what would happen. And you see President Trump absolutely every day attempting to do that. We've got oil. I haven't looked today, but oil is down, and um, it should be about 220 for a gallon, but they're price gouging. He called them out for that. So what I want to say is the system is worth fighting for, and the system is worth using, and the system is also worth celebrating. Our country is worth celebrating, and so I hope everybody does that. It's not too late. I mean, it's the 250th anniversary of 1776. I mean, you know, uh, have a great time because you live in we all live in such a great country. And you're like, how can you say that after what happened to your son and everything? Um, because we're getting accountability. We're getting accountability, and no system um, is like our system when it comes to accountability. And Texas doesn't mess around. It absolutely puts the death penalty on the table, and that's what we want. That's what we want. So, um, yeah. So there is a good feeling that of everything that's happening behind the scene that's keeping us upbeat. Um, Michael Maiella was wired, and maybe still is, into the 34th Judicial District Attorney's Office. That's the prosecutor's office. Okay, he's wired in, and it's kind of short circuit. It is short circuiting. I don't want to say kinda. It is short circuiting. Um, but but yeah, it's like did somebody pour some holy water on this? I think so. I think so because Michael Maiella was totally wired into the DA's office, and he has totally compromised the DA's office. Totally, they absolutely knew where he was and what he was doing, and um, all all of the criminal activity that he has participated in. And so it's like, really, if you knew what could, it, in this day of it, you really have to have a plan. You really have to have um, some maneuvering to get accountability. So we're really working hard on that because um, these these demons they're hurting others, right? And Leilani Hart needs to be arrested. Leilani Hart needs to be arrested. So the big news is that Maiella, you know, being in the FBI and being in cybersecurity for Walmart, um, it, yeah, it just doesn't it just doesn't give you that jaw drop like Michael Maiella being wired into the prosecutor's office, the DA's office. Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. So, th that is huge, huge news, and it's moving forward with getting, the truth out there because we've had so many false narratives, right? Everything surrounding Richard is a false narrative. And so that's why we have the petition. And I hope that everyone takes a minute out to sign the petition. And I need to post it again because the petition will lead to a full review of Richard's file. Um, and that is why um, we're taking time out to push um, this bidding, of Richard, to honor him, to absolutely honor him, but to also have a full review of his record, because the smear campaign has to stop. It has to stop. And so please sign the petition for that full review and to honor him, because we are so confident in Richard's record that we're asking for the full review. Yeah. Vanessa Valentino says, you're whatever. Whatever. Explain Maiella. Explain Maiella that he was in the DA's office with Jaime Esparza, that he was and still is in the El Paso FBI field office. Explain Maiella at Walmart Cybersecurity at the same time. Explain Maiella. Explain David Frost. David Frost um, being an active duty uh, soldier and at the same time being in the FBI office, just not anybody, but being um, the lead FBI agent in the Walmart mass shooting. That is totally botched. Totally botched. Explain the pictures. Explain Nadal Baim, the father-in-law of Bradford Bugado, the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM. Explain him and his bidding, $3 million bidding, his connections in the DA's office too, wired into the DA's office with Michael G. Maiella. Explain that one, because that's hard evidence. So I don't know who this Vanessa person is, but they're stupid. They're dumb. They must be a Democrat, right? They must be a Democrat. They're stupid. They're idiotic, because everything that we're saying, we have receipts for. And it's not us saying it, it's just telling you what the receipts are saying. So, in 30 seconds or less, the corruption of the Walmart shooting. Well, we have JT, who was the lead DPS on it, that said it was staged. Said it was staged. We have the pictures of Alexander Gerhard Hoffman proving that his body was moved before Patrick Crucius even entered in to the Walmart. The timeline is totally impossible. We have Patrick Crucius's attorney, Joe Spencer, on audio, admitting that Patrick Crucius gave himself up 2 times, not just once, 2 times, which makes the timeline totally impossible. We also have it that they kept that Patrick Crucius couldn't even tie his shoe because he is severely autistic. We have the court hearings that the neighbors were saying when he was 3 years old, he was banging his head on the sidewalk, that he failed kindergarten, that he couldn't tie his shoe when he was 18 years old. I mean, my goodness. How can a person, handle a weapon in that short of amount of time to take 23 lives and injure 22 more, and then give himself up, surrender 2 times, and 2 Hispanics, and be all nice, right? You know, if he and then to have no blood on his shoes, no blood on his pants, no blood on his hands. They didn't even bag his hands. They didn't bag his hands. They didn't read his rights. Did you watch the DPS video? Oh my goodness. And then the timeline. The timeline. He was eating oranges. Patrick Crucius was eating oranges. He was on his phone texting. You have JT Juan Torres, the lead DPS agent, saying it was staged. Um, you have the no forensics, no ballistics report. 3 years after, still you have Jose Sanchez, the director of the whole Western District of Texas for the DPS, saying we do not have a ballistics report. Why not? You have Maiella being his brother-in-law. Yeah, I mean, thank you for this opportunity to. What about the application for appointed counsel? What about Joe Spencer's audio saying that he told Judge Guadarrama and Judge San Medrano that he wouldn't get on this case unless he had an open checkbook? And he said that before he went in to see Patrick Crucius on the 5th of August when Sam Medrano wasn't even selected to be on the case. He hadn't even been selected. That come on, that stinks of high heaven. And uh, the application for appointed counsel for taxpayer funds was approved at 5:42 in the morning on a Sunday on August 4th, just hours after the shooting, without any review of Patrick Crucius's finances, which show that he was worth over $1 million. Uh, you know, and no mother, no father coming. He didn't randomly pick um El Paso. This was an orchestrated hit. And I can go on about his weapon, about Mexico requesting to see the weapon, not getting it. No ballistics, no, like I said, no reports. Tell you about Veronica Escobar and her occult ties. Well, she's tied to Beto O'Rourke. Beto O'Rourke um, absolutely weaponized the bloody Walmart mass shooting to frame a fake narrative to attack President Trump and sabotage the 2020 election. Now that's pretty occult. If you want to be in the White House so bad that you would do something like that. And on the, it's strange because on the 8th of August, so the shooting was on the 3rd. So the morning 5:42 a.m., Patrick Crucius already has the the approval for the appointed counsel, the open checkbook that he was saying, I want an open checkbook. And then on that Monday, he was already in there charging the taxpayers. We have him on audio saying that. Um, Veronica Escobar covered up the Maiella connection. she covered up the Richard Halliday's connection to this, that he was a whistleblower for it. Yeah. So, and it can go on and on, because of Maria Eugenia Logarith wrote. That was an execution style hit, along with Alexander Gerhard Hofmann. That was absolutely a professional hit. So, but you have to explain Maiella and you have to explain David Frost, because David Frost was the lead investigator of the case that was totally botched. How do we know it's been botched? Because we've been studying it for almost 6 years. It's botched. So, um, and I just gave you a reason why it was botched. The FBI admitted that they did not secure the scene for 48 hours, and you see the video that I did get, um, that shows that it wasn't secure. So, and there's a lot of anomalies about the whole thing that really proves that there was staging. So, thank you so much for your questions, James, and um, yeah, please spread that information around. It's so important for the future of Mexico. So, thank you so much, everyone, and I will be back tomorrow, God willing.